Welcome back. Another child trafficking syndicate have met their Waterloo in Anambra State. The three women were caught while trying to board a bus to Calabar from Onitsha. That's according to the state's police public relations officer, Emeka Chukwuemeka. The women, still under interrogation and investigation, have revealed that they've been transacting the child trafficking business with a certain Mrs. Sabina Izora, a Deputy Director of Education and Social Development in Onitsha South local government area of Anambra State in Nigeria's southeast region.
At the police headquarters in Awka, the three women with the stolen babies were paraded. The babies were trafficked all the way from Calabar, the Cross River State capital. One of the suspects, who was a Deputy Director of Education and Social Development in Onitsha South local government area, and the recipient of the trafficked babies, showed no remorse but admitted to the crime.
If I need a baby, I won't source for a baby. I'll source for a baby. The most important thing is that I didn't steal I didn't buy the baby, I didn't steal the baby. This one, because of money, finance, they stayed almost 2 months in the hospital. And this one is 3 days. So I paid 150,000 for the two of them.
The other suspect, who aids the transfer of the babies from Calabar to Onitsha, confessed running the transit errand to Umunna motherless babies' home with the assistance of a lady who works in the Ministry of Women Affairs in Calabar. The police public relations officer told the story as gathered from investigation.
We had information that they boarded the vehicle all the way from Calabar, and the vehicle dropped them at Onitsha. They had these two babies. A few hours later, they resurfaced at the same park. They also boarded the vehicle. They were about boarding the vehicle back to Calabar when information got to the police, and the police swooped on them and arrested them and demanded to know from them the whereabouts of these children. They confessed that those children they came with were actually delivered to one Sabina, and the police followed the lead with them and arrested the same Sabina.
Reacting to the issue, the Director of Child Development in Anambra State Ministry of Women Affairs said the state no longer runs motherless babies' home, but community children's home in accordance with the Child's Right Act.
There is no way you can leave Anambra State to go to another state and then secure or procure a babies. Even if that attitude ought to be, it must emanate from the Ministry of Women Affairs in that state, officially to the Ministry of Women Affairs in Anambra State, stating obviously reasons for such a transfer. And the Umunna Community Children's Home, though they still call themselves Mother Babies Home, happens to be a home that is not really performing well. Sometime last time, a baby was stolen from there. And while the thing is still under investigation, they went ahead to traffic babies. So it is quite obvious that they're using that home as a transit shelter.
As it is, only the male baby has been discharged from the hospital, while the female baby is recuperating.
From there to the story of another crime, this time in Kogi State, as police say they've discovered the body of late Farouk Lawal, who was killed by some hoodlums on January the 22nd this year in a farmland in Adavi local government area. The State Commissioner of Police, Saidu Madawaki, explains that the decomposed body was found following the arrest of some of the suspects who led them to the spot where the victim was allegedly murdered.
Some weeks ago, Farouk Lawal was reported missing by his family. The matter was reported to the police in Okene, and after police investigation, some suspects and the body of Lawal was found in this farmland, just a stone throw from Lafia quarters where he was dumped. The police boss could not say precisely if he was murdered for ritual purposes, but explained to journalists how it all happened. He also called on the public to always furnish the police with credible information.
Farouk Lawal was shot by some hoodlums on the 22nd of January 2014. Unfortunately, there was no clue about his whereabouts, and even the hoodlums. Not quite long, During the course of our investigation, we made some arrests, which led to the revelation of the place where he was dumped after he was killed. And that is why we are here. Whatever motive they have for the killing, what we have is a case of culpable homicide, whether his parts are removed or whatever. So they will pay the wrath of the law.
The managing director of the zonal hospital in Okene, Dr. Abdusalam Abubakar, who examined the decomposing body, said all indications show that he was murdered.
There's evidence that he was murdered, the head removed, the private part removed.
At the police area command office in Okene, the 3 suspects were paraded and the vehicle they used was also displayed.
Farouk had a misunderstanding with Ijoba, of which Farouk takes soldier to Ijoba's house and they kill one of Ijoba's friends. So Ijoba was now planning to go after them, of which Bros Apadi is there. Ask him not to do so, that he will put us in trouble.
And now Ijoba tell me that Farouk say, I won't go kill him. I say, I know if he go, I won't carry my motor to go house. Now Ijoba carry gun, go inside my head. He say, if he run, I will fire me. Now threaten me to carry this Farouk, go kill him.
As it stands now, the principal suspect, Ijogbon, who was said to have shot and beheaded Farouk Lawal, is still at large. The police say in due course he would be caught to face the law.
To other news, as Nigeria celebrates 100 years of existence as a nation, the people of Danare community in Boki local government area of Cross River State are calling on the federal government to monitor strictly the ongoing boundary demarcation exercise by the Mixed Commission in order not to lose some communities to the Republic of Cameroon, as was in the case of Bakassi. This call is coming on the heels of the ongoing exercise that has left over 20 villages in the state under threat of being ceded to Cameroon if a proactive measure by government is not taken. Our community report tonight takes us to one of the villages, Danare in Boki local government area of the state, where the original beacon stone that demarcated the boundaries between Nigeria and Cameroon since the 19th century has now been replaced for a new one by the UN team without the state's representative.
Tisala, now you're talking.
It is a journey of about 8 hours on tarred and untarred roads, then through bush paths to the boundary point between Nigeria and the Republic of Cameroon from Calabar, the Cross River State capital. Last month, the community received a team of UN officials who came in search of pillar number 113A to continue demarcation of lands, but were stopped by the youth who raised alarm, drawing attention to the act. Here in Donore, we met elders of the community and rulers who went down memory lane dating back to 1913 when boundary demarcation exercise between the two countries was carried out.
The French, in trying to retrace the boundaries between the British territory of the 1913, got to a pillar called Pillar 113. There was a 113A, which was to adjust the boundary to suit the cultural and historical affinities of the communities within the border areas, to avoid putting too many people who were from the same ancestry in different countries. That was Pillar 113A, established in 19. They got there and couldn't trace it because of farming activities in the area and the Cameroonian ambition and the Nigerian negligence. They couldn't trace Pillar 113A and decided to draw an imaginary line from 113 to 114.
I want to advise the people that we should be consulted, one, to tell them, to show them our natural boundaries. Two, to identify that Pillar 113A.
For us not to forfeit our ancestral home, to the Republic of Cameroon, as it was in the case of Bakassi local government area, we here stand to make our point, to want to express our grievances to the whole world so that they will know that we have been shortchanged by the judgment of the International World Court. And for that, it should be corrected now.
See, reminding to us the past events of Bakassi, will not live to see that. To say, let this thing be done before we take any action.
The youth and the community leaders are not the only worried ones, but also members of the State House of Assembly. They have expressed displeasure over the development to have sidelined the state government in the initial plan of the exercise.
Even where they started the demarcation, are buildings owned by Boki people. The other side of it are schools owned by Boki people. So we now begin to think and reason. Why that provocation? Is it that even when they set out in Abuja to come to the area, they never had any direction? Even the federal government team that were with them, why this?
For the chairman ad hoc committee on boundary dispute, John Gol-Labor, the ongoing exercise is the fallout of the interpretation of the ICJ, which states that everyone should retrace boundaries on land as specified in the Green Tree Agreement entered by Nigeria and Cameroon.
We already have predetermined boundary lines that were done during the colonial era. Some of them as far back as 1842. You understand, they've been demarcated and people have lived in those communities for more than 200 years. If Cameroon is now using the ICJ judgment as an opportunity to come and annex cross-river communities, they have to go back to ICJ and get a judgment against Nigeria, in respect of cross-river, because the ICJ judgment has nothing to do with this thing. Yeah, you can say the implication, but that implication, you cannot extend the content of the judgment by delineating boundary lines.
The outcome of the final report will determine if communities of Obudu, Boki, Ibom, and Apangpa will be conceded to Bakassi and annexed by the Republic of Cameroon. But the federal government seems to have another chance now to protest the ceding of Nigerian communities to Cameroon.
Etisala, now you're talking.
From our community report to the health sector, where there seems to be no let-up in the crisis plaguing the nation's health sector, as medical laboratory workers in government hospitals have threatened to embark on an industrial action following the failure of the federal government to implement the agreement it reached with the union since 2001. At the end of its meeting in Kaduna, northwest Nigeria, the president of the association, Dr. Godswill Okara, accused authorities in the Ministry of Health of aiding and abetting the gross anomaly in the health sector, where some fellows in the Nigerian healthcare industry are holding the sector hostage. Next on the news at 10, Manchester City came from a goal down to beat Sunderland in the Capital One Cup. That's in sports news. Please stay with us.